So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our pre-masterclass hosted by Garranto Academy. We are thrilled to have each and every one of you here today as we embark on a transformative journey together. Today, we have the honor of introducing a course that is set to revolutionize your skills and unlock your potential. It is my privilege to present to you Demystifying Chat-GPT and AI free masterclass with our esteemed trainer, Mr. Piyush.
Hello and welcome. Yep.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you for that very, very kind introduction. And hello and welcome, everyone. Very, very happy to have you guys here. And so eagerly and excitingly looking forward to spending these 60 minutes with you. We make the most of it if we interact, if we engage. And yes, AI is an emerging field. So none of us are supposed to know all of it. None of us are even supposed to know the basics of it. That is why this free masterclass, and that is why you guys are here. So the more you ask, the more all of us learn. All right. First things first. So Gartner identified generative AI as a top technology trend in the last year for almost and across industry situations. So generative AI's contributions to areas such as data privacy, fraud detection, risk management, they can all be very, very critical to all kinds of companies. So I will share my brief introduction in a little while when we will perhaps have more people joining in. In the meanwhile, it is important to know that the image that you see here, it is beautiful, right? The interesting thing is it isn't a painting drawn by some famous artist, nor is it a photo generated with the help of something called Midjourney, which is a proprietary AI program that creates pictures from textual descriptions. So yes, what do you think? Generative AI as a technological advance. When I say generative AI, over the next few minutes, you will become clear. I'm primarily referring to this new kid on the block called Chat-GPT. Chat-GPT belongs to a category of AI called generative AI. So do you think as a technological breakthrough, will it be as big as the iPhone or the internet or neither? Can you just write this in the chat box? And I'm looking at the chat messages here. Do you think generative AI is going to be as big as phone? Okay, so Yuan, you believe that it is going to be as big as the internet, right? All right. And what do Albert and Carho, what do you guys feel? Very well, internet again. And mobile telephone, the iPhone, do you think it'll be as big as that? All right, so yes, you guys are right. And I have some other statistics to share with you. This is what the people believe. So yes, internet is to our lives in almost anything and everything that we do, that we are exposed to, and that we live by. However, the ability of being able to use the internet in a mobile first and a cloud first world is what has really revolutionized the whole thing. So yes, just as this is a survey of yours, this is also a survey of some other people that CB Insights did. And yes, as a technological breakthrough, it is being seen to really take the world by storm. So it took Instagram and Spotify around 2.5 and 5 months respectively to reach 1 million users. While this is the statistical race that ChatGPT, within 6 days of its launch, it had crossed over a 1 million numbers of users. So this is also one of the few bright spots of venture right now, which is generative AI. Last year, funding soared to something like 2.65 billion across a record high 110 deals. We must not forget that the generative AI space is still nascent, and there are very many companies that still have to raise outside equity funding, right? But so far, the space has seen 6 companies reach unicorn status. Unicorn is private enterprises, private startups that go on to have a valuation of a 1 billion plus. So there is, of course, OpenAI, the owners of the brand ChatGPT, and there are at least 5 others that you see here, which have all reached a 1 billion plus valuation. So yes, generative AI chatter is only growing by the day, and recently news broke out that Samsung was considering switching its default search engine to the new GPT-powered Bing. So last year, those of you who've been tracking the technology field would know metaverse was the flavor of the season. It was in the last year seen as the future of technology with its potential to create new digital worlds and immersive experiences. And many investors, many investors poured money into startups. However, in the current year, the trend has clearly reversed with generative AI getting a lot more funding due to a number of factors, which includes one, the slower than expected adoption of metaverse technology, and on the other hand, the greater potential for generative AI to disrupt multiple industries. There is, of course, the increasing sophistication of algorithms, of tools, of APIs that make it more accessible to developers and businesses. Now, this one took a while to put together, but here it is, a list of top investors in generative AI today. And through this video, which is from the top boss at BCG, we will get to know about what this big hoopla and hype about generative AI is all about.
Generative AI will be a revolution. Today's everyone and the headlines are focusing on its technical limitations and on productivity gains, but tomorrow it will be a product and innovation. And this is why CEOs need to do 4 things. The first one is to generate responsible AI guidelines dedicated to generative AI. Second, it's to identify the use cases that with generative AI will become a source of competitive advantage. Third, they need to experiment and fully understand the depths of generative AI and how it will impact jobs. Based on that, they will have to redefine their operating model and their organizational blueprint. Fourth, they need to implement a new change management model that takes care of the professional identity of the employees.
What is important to note here is that ChatGPT's responses only touch reality at a tangent. So while this may sound convincing, they are ultimately fictional creations of the generative adversarial network, right? And this is where we're going to now get into the domain of demystifying ChatGPT, right? But before doing that, we will hear out what the big boss of OpenAI, the man of the moment, somebody called Sam Altman, is saying. Do you guys know who Sam Altman is? Anyone who knows who Sam Altman is, and please go ahead and speak. There is nothing that you need to necessarily type in the chat box. We are a short, tight cohort, so happy to make the most of it. All right, so 6 months ago, prior to November, almost no one had heard of Sam Altman. Again, you're typing in the chat. Please speak up, my dear. Oh, you did. Beautiful. Albert, okay, very nice. Very well. Thank you so much. All right. So prior to November of 2022, there has not been a single case of people knowing about either OpenAI or this gentleman called Sam Altman, but both of them seem to be the people and the company of the moment, and ChatGPT seems to be the new kid on the block at the moment. So OpenAI CEO, CTO is what Sam Altman is. He's the creator of ChatGPT, and he recently admitted that he is scared. So let's just hear this out.
On the other hand, there's a huge number of unknowns that could turn out very badly for society. What do you think about that?
We've got to be cautious here. And also, I think it doesn't work to do all this in a lab. You've got to get these products out into the world and make contact with reality, make our mistakes while the stakes are low. But all of that said, I think people should be happy that we're a little bit scared of this. I think people should be happy.
A little bit scared.
A little bit, yeah.
You personally.
I think if I said I were not, you should either not trust me or be very unhappy I'm in this job.
So what is the worst possible outcome?
There's like a set of very bad outcomes. One thing I'm particularly worried about is that these models could be used for large-scale disinformation. I am worried that these systems, now that they're getting better at writing computer code, could be used for offensive cyber attacks. And we're trying to talk about this. I think society needs time to adapt.
And how confident are you that what you've built won't lead to those outcomes?
Well, we'll adapt it. And also, I think
You'll adapt it as negative things occur?
For sure, for sure. And so putting these systems out now, while the stakes are fairly low, learning as much as we can and feeding that into the future systems we create, that tight feedback loop that we run.
All right. So this is Mid-Journey at work. The resulting models are a new form of creative, non-human intelligence. We're going to be talking about it in a while, but if you see below, this is Mid-Journey making 3 versions of each image, one with collage added to the prompt, bottom, left bottom, one with Salvador Dali and one with Peter Bruegel the Elder, right? And you can change the illustration style if you go to the website by changing through the toggle. So ChatGPT is no doubt the latest massive internet phenomena, right? The 100 million numbers in 2 months. And this is when TikTok took 9 months to reach 100 million users, right? Facebook did that not until it was 4.5 years old, and Instagram took almost 2.5 years. So what they did was that they gave a selection of economist covers to an application developed by Microsoft that combined their Florence model along with OpenAI's GPT-3 to generate text descriptions of images. And this is what it returned with. The images were provided. So this is an image to text application that you see here. Yet another example. So when they fed OpenAI's GPT-3 model, the opening lines of some famous novels and asked it to continue the story, this is what it came up with. What you witnessed till now is image to text. This one was completion of a text. And now we're going to be looking at an animation where AI has been used to transform a dancer into a crow, and the result is a haunting and compelling piece that follows the crow through its brief dance in a landscape of post-apocalyptic barrenness to its inevitable demise. This is based on the short film Painted. This is how an award-winning AI film has been brought to life by text to video generation. So deep learning is truly coming to Hollywood. Okay, and this is Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen. So while in The Crow, Marshall used an underlying film as an image reference, he had previously earned plaudits for an AI-generated Daft Punk video, but he applied a different approach to The Crow, and his earlier technique turned text into random visual mutations, and this is a sample of that. It's a perfect tribute to the Electro Pioneer, the Voyager music video that was made with the Story to Hallucination library. So the clip culminates with one member of Daft Punk self-destructing in the desert while the other walks off into the distance on his own. When Marshall was asked what he thought the duo would make of his creation, he said, I think the one remaining member will smile, then explode. William Gibson's work. The power of AI art. They look like the real person, but they are not as we understand. Again, mid-journey at work. So visualizing ChatGPT's performance and some human examinations. And this is a conversation with Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. This is, I think, 2 months old.
In any language in any Indian language. So a demo I saw was a rural Indian farmer trying to access some government program, right? So he just expressed a complex thought in speech in one of the local languages that got translated and interpreted by a bot, and a response came back saying, go to a portal and here is how you'll access the program. He said, look, I'm not going to go to the portal. I want you to do this for me. And it completed it. And the reason why it was able to complete it was because a developer building it had taken GPT and trained it over all of the Government of India documents and then scaffolded it with the speech recognition software. So think about what that meant, right? That basically meant that a large model, a foundational model that was developed in the West Coast of the United States a few months before, had made its way to a developer in India who then sort of added value to it to make a difference in a remote villager's life. And I've never seen that type of diffusion. To your point about the Industrial Revolution, Klaus, I would say, we're still waiting for the Industrial Revolution to reach some large parts of the world 250 years after. The internet maybe took 30 years. Maybe the cloud and mobile took 15 years. And now I think we're talking months, which to me, I think is perhaps the benefit. Doesn't mean to your core question.
Yeah. So what is clear is that the world is having a runaway movement. The field is having a runaway movement. Right. So all these slides quickly are trying to bring us to some kind of a conclusion on how generative AI has become the talk of the town. And the important thing to realize it, why now? Better models, more data, more computing, right? So first and foremost, before we get there, it is important to understand what on earth is AI all about, all right? So artificial intelligence, any one of you guys, would you like to speak about whatever you understand? Don't worry, all of us have very limited understanding. So no worries, please go right ahead and share whatever you believe AI is and AI is not. Yeah. Anyone? So there are 3 things that are driving the AI revolution. We, the human beings, have been on planet Earth for nearly 200,000 years. Out of these 200,000 years, as much data as has been produced in the last 200,000 years is the data that we produced in the last 2 years. So first and foremost, there is a humongous amount of data out there, huge volume and huge velocity of data. 1. 2, unlike the times in the past, we are living in an age of mobile first and cloud first computing. So the computing power available at our disposal is once again matching the humongousness of the data and the speed at which we are able to do that. And at a third level are algorithms. Algorithms refers to the code, which means the software the sophisticated software that we're using, they are extremely sophisticated. So these three things combined are the key drivers of artificial intelligence. Generative AI now, to top it all, why now, is because it has reached a stage where it is at a seminal moment in the history of what will be counted as, just a moment, yes, what will be counted as the most seminal moment in the history of AI coming along. But not to forget, there were 6 authors of a seminal research paper by Google that helped enable OpenAI to raise its first 1.3 billion in startup funding, right? So the generative AI revolution, the timeline is here. I would call these more as a reference document. Typically in this masterclass, we try and spend about 30, 35, 40 odd minutes in the class where I share some little bit of information, and then we move forward to do some kind of an interactive discussion between us to clarify a few things and where I take questions. So that's the format that we're going to be following even today. But this is what the generative AI. So generative AI, so this is the larger universe of artificial intelligence, a part of which is something called machine learning, a part of which is something called deep learning, a yet smaller part of it, a subset of it, is something called generative AI. And of that generative AI, one of the brands that has taken the world by storm is something called ChatGPT. ChatGPT is basically a text-to-text thing, but we will get to this because I have a few 10 top questions that I try and answer typically in these masterclasses. Whether or not they're being asked by today's cohort does not matter. I know these questions are in everyone's mind and on the top of everyone's mind right now. So yes, this is a schematic that describes the platform layer that powers each category and the potential type of applications that are built on top. But just to understand, what can generative AI do today?
I gave it a prompt asking what should Harvard's strategy in online education be in a way that preserves the magic of the campus experience. And, it typed out a fine essay, but it was pretty generic. I then cut and paste the essay and gave it back to ChatGPT. And I said, if this was the answer to an essay prompt like this, how would you grade it? And it said, I would give it a grade of C+ because it's not Harvard specific enough, which was absolutely fascinating because I was like, actually, this is not just for giving answers, it's for grading answers. And there's a certain degree of self-awareness, or dare I say humility here.
Yeah. So carrying on and showing a little bit more of the kind of things that AI can do today. This is, of course, image generation. The most prominent use case of generative AI is creating these fake images that look like real ones, or this plethora of practical applications in different domains, such as computer vision, right? The ability to do a sketch to image example is here. And this is a text to image translation. Researchers have also been able to use it to generate a text to speech situation. Audio data can also be processed by generative AI. And what you're seeing is video, which is a set of moving visual images.
Welcome everybody to GAN Theft Auto. What you see here is me playing inside of a neural network's environment. This neural network was trained by watching a bot play Grand Theft Auto 5 on this particular stretch of highway, learning how to generate new frames from previous frames and player input. So every pixel you see here is generated from a neural network while I play.
So this is image and video resolution enhancement as yet another application. Synthetic data generation, right? So while we live in a world that is overflowing with data that is being generated in great amounts continuously, the problem of getting enough data to train ML models remains. And this is where synthetic data comes into being.
The frames that you see is not rendered by a graphics engine. It's actually rendered by AI technology that we built.
This is the first time we combine machine learning and computer graphics to do image generation using deep networks.
For training data, we're given some driving sequences of different cities. And then we use another segmentation network to extract the high-level semantics from these sequences. We have the UE4 engine to generate these colorized high-level layouts. Different objects were given different colors.
The network converts these representation to images.
I made my co-author to dance Gangnam Style, which I don't think he would do by himself.
We find some good dancing videos from another person and then use my model to synthesize the dance move. That was created by machines. It's not me.
So yes, synthetic data is about to transform artificial intelligence, and this is a summary of the generative AI use cases and applications, the examples of which we just saw. So what are we trying to do? And this is almost going to be the last slide that I'm sharing before we get into the Q&A mode. We in the business of demystifying this thing called ChatGPT, which is a fascinating new application of GANs, which is generative adversarial networks, which is what has been generating a lot of buzz in the AI community. For those unfamiliar with GANs are a type of neural network that use two competing networks, a generator and a discriminator, to create realistic looking outputs. The generator creates fake outputs, and the discriminator tries to tell the difference between the fake outputs and the real world data. And through this back and forth process, the GAN is able to produce outputs that are indistinguishable from real data. So what ChatGPT does is it takes this concepts and applies it to text-based conversation. So it uses GANs to generate responses to input text, allowing it to engage in natural sounding conversations with humans. All right. So that is basically what the business of ChatGPT is all about. A quick video. This is not the last slide. You will get to those 10 question slides, but a quick video on what ChatGPT is.
Meet John, a talented programmer who is looking to start a company that used his personally developed mobile application to connect restaurants and customers for booking and reservations. Even though the app was ready, John had difficulty getting together a team for his startup, needing separate people for sales, marketing, programming, content creation, and customer support. Hiring reliable manpower while being strict with his budget was getting difficult. He reached out to his friend Ryan, who said John could start his company without hiring any new people, thanks to just a single AI-based tool. John couldn't believe it, which led Ryan to introduce Chat-GPT, the revolutionary AI chatbot being developed by OpenAI. It is a state-of-the-art natural language processing, or NLP model, that uses a neural network architecture to provide responses. This means that the Chat-GPT bot can answer questions without being explicitly told what the answer is using its own intellect, unlike previous AI chatbots. So, how does Chat-GPT help John in filling out his team? Regarding sales, Chat-GPT can provide full-fledged sales pitches based on the correct prompts. It can provide tips on how to pitch your product to businesses, removing the need for sales training. Completely customized to your requirements and your prompts. If you don't like some things about the response, you can ask for certain changes, and the chatbot will make sure they are done. When it comes to marketing, ChatGPT can provide efficient marketing strategies, which can help new entrepreneurs learn how to market their products to prospective clients. It can provide trending keywords that marketers can use for SEO purposes, while providing ad copies for your website and blog. Speaking of websites, since John can do a lot of the heavy lifting in programming, ChatGPT can help proofread the code and help out when looking for bugs to fix. Apart from basic bug fixing, it can also provide sample code structures for different programming languages, allowing John to focus more on improving core functionality and workflow, rather than fixing basic code errors. Websites and blogs content is very helpful when gathering potential customer leads. The revolutionary bot can provide full-length blog posts with near-perfect fast accuracy in seconds, allowing further customization, like choosing the length of the subject matter to the complexity of language. For John's customer support, the bot can draft complete customer service emails based on the situation, saving time and resources. The tone of the message can be changed to reflect the nature of the message, creating an efficient alternative for call center professionals. John was left speechless seeing this level of versatility from ChatGPT and wanted to implement it right away. However, Ryan made sure John knew about some drawbacks of the chatbot before getting started. Since the bot is trained mostly on data up to 2021, many of the newer events may still need to be discovered by ChatGPT. Even basic stuff like asking about the current date and time is beyond its scope, much like the limited understanding of context despite providing near lifelike solutions to certain problems. Even the accuracy of many responses can be questioned since the AI model is still learning and being developed. There is a section of the public that believes the revolutionary tool can one day replace Google search. But that day seems far-fetched so far because of the variety of issues people keep running into when using ChatGPT. So here's a question for you. Which of the following tasks cannot be allowing further customization, like choosing the length of...
So last 10 questions, but before we get there, are there any questions, comments, observations, discussions, anything anyone would like to ask? Any reflections, any experiences to share? Have you guys used ChatGPT? Anyone? Most welcome. Like I said in the beginning, the more we interact, the more we learn.
Hi, this is Ewan.
Yes, Yuvan.
Yes, hi. So, yeah, I've been dabbling with using ChatGPT, especially because my organization kind of wants to adopt its technology, right? Yeah. So, but the thing is, the concern that that's always been bugging a lot of us, especially, is how does it manage misinformation? We saw some of the concerns that the OpenAI CEO or CTO himself had. So how is the industry progressing in managing misinformation, and maybe I want addressing ethical considerations as well?
Yep, very, very important and very, very good question. And I must compliment you that your first question is in a zone which is a very, very advanced and very, very sophisticated, talks about a sophisticated understanding of what you understand ChatGPT is doing. So as OpenAI emphasizes, ChatGPT can give you wrong answers, okay, and can give a misleading impression of greatness. This is what Sam Altman had tweeted sometime, right? Now, when you ask it to, for example, write the phrase, the squirming facts exceed the squamous mind, ChatGPT would reply something like, I'm sorry, but I'm not able to browse the internet or access any external information beyond what I was trained on. So yes, it is willing to take a stab at the meaning of that expression, right? So ChatGPT's answers can look authoritative, but can be wrong. The journal Science, we are aware, banned ChatGPT text in January when they said an AI program cannot be an author. A violation of these policies will constitute scientific misconduct, no different from altered images or plagiarism of existing work. So there are these challenges, and there is a concept known as hallucination, which I'm just going to be talking as we get there in the 8 or 10 questions that we're going to be doing, and which will provide you an even greater perspective of what your question is, and all those issues related to privacy, data, bias, ethics, etc. crop in there. But good question. Good question. Yuvan, you will have it answered before we finish off with this slide. All right.
Okay.
Any other questions, people? This is good. I like it. I love it. Thank you, Yuvan. Pramila Nitish, you've just entered. Tell us, what is ChatGPT? You have entered into a masterclass at the right time. We're all trying to unravel the mysteries behind ChatGPT. Okay, so let me try and answer it. What is it? It is an AI chatbot system This is what OpenAI released in November to show off and test what a very large, powerful AI system can accomplish. You can ask it countless questions and often will get an answer that is useful. For example, if you ask encyclopedic questions like explain Newton's laws of motion, you can tell it, write me a poem. When it does, you can say, now make it more exciting. You can ask it to write a computer program that will show you all the different ways in which you can arrange the letters of a word. Like I said earlier, the catch is that it does not exactly know anything. It's an AI that has been trained to recognize patterns in vast swathes of text harvested from the internet, and then further trained with human assistance to deliver more useful and better dialogue. So the answers that you get may sound plausible and even authoritative, but they might well be entirely wrong. This is what OpenAI wants. Now, question, what kind of questions can you ask, right? There's something in the chat box which I will quickly have a look at. Okay, this is all friendly advice. All right, so what kind of questions can you ask, right? You can ask anything, though you might not get an answer. So OpenAI suggests a few categories like explaining physics, asking for birthday party ideas, getting programming help, etc. So the important thing to understand is ChatGPT's expertise is broad. Its ability to follow a conversation is notable. When you ask it for words that rhyme with purple, it offers a few suggestions. Then when you follow up, how about with pink? It doesn't miss a beat. So this is where the power of following a conversation of ChatGPT is really, really exciting. As we were seeing earlier, ChatGPT is the brainchild of OpenAI, which is an AI research company. Their mission, as they claim, is to develop a safe and beneficial artificial general intelligence system or to help others to do so. So OpenAI has 375 employees, and Sam Altman, the man of the moment, CEO, tweeted in January that they've managed to pull together the most talent-dense researchers and engineers in the field of AI. They have made splashes before, first with GPT-3, which could generate text that can sound like a human wrote it, and then with something called DAL-E, which creates what is now called generative AI based on text prompts that you put in. And it's not totally automated, which means humans evaluate ChatGPT's initial results in a process called fine-tuning. So this is getting into real AI, machine learning, and the process of fine-tuning, right? So human reviewers apply guidelines that OpenAI's models then generalize from. In addition, OpenAI also uses a Canyon firm that paid people up to something like $3.75 per hour to review thousands of snippets of text for problems like violence, sexual abuse, hate speech, etc. So this data was built into a new AI component designed to screen such materials from ChatGPT's answers and OpenAI training data. Honestly, ChatGPT does not actually know anything the way you and I do. It's just able to take a prompt, find relevant information in the oceans of training data, and convert that into plausible sounding paragraphs of text. So we are a very, very long way away from the self-awareness that one may be dreaming, right? Next, is it free? Yes, for the moment at least, but in January, they did open a paid version that responds faster and keeps working even during peak usage times. For the lower mortals of us, the ordinary mortals of us, we otherwise may get messages like, ChatGPT is at capacity right now. Now you can sign up on a waiting list if you are interested. OpenAI's Altman warned that ChatGPT's compute costs are eye-watering at a few cents per response, right? But of course, he's told potential investors that they expect 200 millions in revenue in 2023 and 1 billion in 24. This is according to Reuters. Limits of ChatGPT, right? This is what we were earlier talking about when you had asked that question. All kinds of challenges still exist, and those limits are very, very clearly up there. Will it help students cheat better? Yes, but with many other technology developments, it's not a simple black and white situation. So decades ago, as students, we could copy encyclopedia entries, we could use calculators. More recently, students have been able to use search engines and Wikipedia. So ChatGPT offers new abilities for everything, from helping with research to doing your homework for you outright. And many ChatGPT answers already sound like student essays, though often with a, set with a tone which is, I would say, stuffier, more pedantic than what a writer may prefer. And we've seen how smart it is vis-a-vis those examinations. So I would say educators thought that Google, Wikipedia, and the internet itself would ruin education, but it did not. So my sense is that it's a tool, not a villain. Not with 100% certainty, but yes, there is technology to spot AI, written content, and that could help. Yes, but with caveats. So ChatGPT can retrace steps humans have taken, and it can generate actual programming code. What would otherwise take hours to do, it is able to do in a few minutes. So that is the power of ChatGPT. Now, once again, to your very important question, Yuvan, what is off limits? So it is designed to weed out inappropriate requests, a behavior in line with OpenAI's mission to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. Now, if you ask ChatGPT itself what is off limits, it will tell you any questions that are discriminatory, offensive, or inappropriate. What does this include? Questions that are racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, or otherwise discriminatory or hateful, right? Is this better than Google search? So asking a computer a question and getting an answer is useful, and often ChatGPT delivers the goods. What Google does is it supplies you with suggested answers to questions and with links to websites that it thinks will be relevant. ChatGPT's answers far surpass what Google will suggest, so it is easy to imagine that GPT-3 is a rival. Google, of course, has built large language models of its own and uses AI already extensively in search. That said, Google is keen to take out its deep AI expertise and tout it really. So ChatGPT triggered a code red emergency within Google. This is according to New York Times, and drew Google co-founders, both Larry Page and Sergey Brin, back into active work. So Microsoft could build ChatGPT into its rival search engine Bing. As we know, Microsoft is the company that owns ChatGPT. They have substantial investments in there. So yes, ChatGPT, while imperfect, is doubtless showing the way towards our technology future. This brings me to the end of this session. We are 45 minutes down. We have good 15 minutes to engage in conversations, to engage in question answers. I am all ears. I'm going to be closing down the presentation and be taking questions. So all yours, people. Questions, comments, observations, whatever you have. All yours. Yes, Yuvan, Karho, Albert, Yeo, and Premila. Anyone, any questions, comments, observations?
Hi, this is Albert here. I'm
Yes.
going to share with you a document that I've gotten recently from a virtual conference. Hope you all can see this. It's interesting because it shows by the categories and subcategories how extensive the generative AI landscape is. So maybe something for you all to just look at it and just be amazed with the how extensive the whole thing is. It's really a lot more than just ChatGPT.
So
can you see the
yeah, I'm trying to open it, Albert. Thank you very much for doing that. Really appreciate it. It's a heavy document, 17 MB. So it's taking a little while, and we will have a look at it. What's your background, Albert?
No, just in education, just looking at this area.
And you had attended my earlier session, right? Which was a 2-day program.
The 2-day program, yes.
Oh, very well. And I hope it helped you. And where are you? Have you made a switch, or are you already a part of within education only, you playing an active part in?
No, just exploring actually. Yeah.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
I may mention that coming weekend we are having a similar program, and now this program is enhanced, Albert, because it's because of what has happened in the space of AI over the last couple of months. We've now included 1 or 2 full-fledged sessions. So in fact, time is short. Otherwise, I could have very quickly shown you guys a demo. I wouldn't know if every one of us, I know Yuvan has declared that he's been using it for a while now in his company, but okay, the generative AI, text applications, image applications, video applications, audio applications, coding applications, data, bots, and other applications. Beautiful, nice.
Yeah.
Infographics, very good, very well. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Yeah, most welcome.
Yeah, and thank you also for sharing it with all of us. I don't know if I will be able to access it later, so I'm trying to save it. How do I save it? Can I just pick this out? So will you do me a favor, my dear Yoon? Will you kind of save it and share it with me later? Yeah. All right, perfect. So that is nice. That is good. So we have this upcoming program this weekend, call it a shameless plug, but we know, and Albert, I'm sure, will vouch for the fact that this program benefits us all. And we generally try and keep the cohort very, very small and tight. We also bring in external experts who work with us to really build projects in the class, as also to be able to take a dimension. For example, Yuvan talked about ethical AI, responsible AI. So these are issues which are very, very relevant. We call it the business technology people playbook, because there is the business aspect of it, which is in terms of viability. There is the technological aspect of it, which is in terms of feasibility, right? But the most important is the desirability aspect of it, which is the people aspect of it. So almost an equivalent treatment is what we give to the 3 parts, and it's a 16-hour workshop that we run. I know that there is some consideration that is provided by the government of Singapore, the Ministry of, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and IBF, etc. So some subsidies exist, which is how it's something which is in line with government of Singapore's continuing mission to make continuous learning as a fairly big part of life. But good, thank you very much for sharing this, Albert. This helps. Yes, what else? Pramila, you entered late. Do you have any questions for us? Car, who? Do you have any questions? And Yuvan, any more inspiring? And yes, Pramila, all yours.
No, sir, no. I'm started to using the Chat-GPT.
Already? Well.
Yes, already. But I found that it is interesting. It is give me a statement that professional mode, so which has helped me a lot.
Very good, very well. And what do you do, Pramila? Are you working in which industry?
Procurement, buyer.
You are a buyer.
Yes, procurement.
Procurement. Okay, very well, very nice. Okay, very good. And are you able to use it also as a part of your work sometime? Does it help you in some way?
Yes, when I draft the email, I use mostly when I draft the email.
Very well, very well. So content writing for you in terms of business content writing and being able to use it as a smart assistant, right?
Yes, correct.
That's smart on your part. Good, good, very good. And Karho and Yuvan, any more questions, comments, observations? Happy to take them.
Yep, probably I'll just give it sharing a little bit of experience. Yes, there has in my company from the top management, there's been very strong push to adopt AI, especially like a ChatGPT, DALL-E, Midjourney, and so on. In fact, I think there are some use cases of copywriters using them from our technology team, starting to build towards roadmap of how they're going to adopt AI or tools that are powered by AI or machine learning. But from I myself, I'm in the space of area of information security, data privacy. So it's a concern for some of us, especially folks in the information security, data privacy area. You know, it's definitely a concern. How is this going to be regulated? What OpenAI is doing? What else should company do on top of what OpenAI is doing? You know, we're trying to figure things out. So that's the space we are coming from. And yes, while it has been a great like personal assistance, crunching data, summarizing data, you know, you're able to go to it for quick information, and you know, it's very easy to use. But also when it comes to like, you know, when we try to kind of dabble with it with risk management or risk assessments, and all that, we see the accuracy is still definitely not there when it comes to data privacy, you know, and customizing for the kind of organization we are or the kind of organization we're in. But we definitely see it has huge potentials. But at this point in time, in my space, just a feedback from information security, data privacy, there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, very well. Thank you very, very much. I think that helps. And thank you for sharing this important learning and perspective that you have come with. Thank you. So cybersecurity seems to be your key calling, right? Is that what you would describe as the closest to what you do? Okay, very good.
Correct. That's right.
Tremendous implications for how technology and various aspects of technology are all going to become interrelated. So there is the Internet of Things, there is blockchain, there is artificial intelligence, the trifecta of this technology, and cybersecurity, of course, when you're dealing with the kind of humongous data that we've been discussing, you know, and how security of that data, privacy issues, security issues, how all of those things can mar a very beautiful picture otherwise. Right? So good, very nice. All right, so if there are no more questions, we can call it a day. Any other questions, comments, observations, anything to share, anyone? All right, so I would request that each one of us.
Yes, sir, we would like to take your attendance photos.
Yes, so we have to have an attendance photo. So everyone has to just turn on the camera for once, and then we are sorted, and then they can issue the, I think, certificate or something in the end. Yes, good, Albert, I remember you.
1 second. Let me just put it.
Yuvan and Karho, if you guys could. No matter how camera ready you right now are and are not. What nice t-shirt, man.
Definitely not.
What a beautiful blue color. And there is Yuvan. Good. You let us know, Yoon, once you're done.
Just space better lighting a bit. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. So look forward to seeing you guys sometime, whenever, wherever, perhaps in this weekend class or some other time. But all the very best with your journey with AI. And I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Thank you for your patience. Okay.
Thank you very much, Piyush. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Yoon. Thank you, Kathleen. And thank you, the rest of the Garranto team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.